What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me this week, you know him as Retro Ray.
What's going on, guys?
I'm trying to go in order here. My partner in crime, the one and only Matty B.
Woo! Let's get it going. You know what? We got guests. We
What's
have
going on, Chief?
we're almost towards the end of The Last of Us. I can't wait to get talking about some of that. But it's good to be here. And look at this new look. We look great.
We look fantastic. Also joining us again from the Legacy of Nerd, it's Daniel.
I'm gonna do my straight edge version.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't go chasing waterfalls, Legacy Nerd. You know the rules.
You know, I thought that was Jason Waterfalls like for 3 years when I was a
Me
kid.
too, for the longest time. But I was like, what a good
God.
name that would be.
Right?
Jason Waterfalls.
That's a comic book name right there.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're in the chat, say what's up. We have a fantastic show. And as you might have guessed from all the stuff we've been putting out on social media and the channels, we've been doing a hell of a lot. So if you have comments about any of the videos, any of the interviews that all of these guys have been putting out there, tell them they're doing a great job. Show them some love. Tell them what they're doing is fantastic. They love hearing it. We got a great show for you guys. We're going to be continuing our discussion on The Last of Us at the end of our show. Episode 8 dropped yesterday. We're going to talk about it. So if you haven't seen it, I'll let you know beforehand that we're going to be getting to spoilers. Yeah, that'll come later in the show. We have a very special guest also in the second half of our show. We've been kind of teasing it. But it's also promoting an event that's coming out next weekend. But first, we have a very special guest that we're going to be pulling up here at the beginning of our show. He is the promoter for Comic Arts San Antonio. He's got a fantastic event with over 50 comic book exhibitors, comic artists, writers. The March 25th at the Wonderland Mall of the Americas. It's one, the only. Nasser, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, everybody?
Thanks for joining, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This was an event I knew we had to reach out and talk to you about. It's going down March 25th. I'm going to pull up some of the flyers that you got going on, but I also want to get some words from you, especially. So, March 25th, Wonderland of the Americas Mall, free event with over 50 exhibitors, writers, artists. Tell us a little bit about C.A.S.A.
Well, like you said, man, it's going to be over 50 comic book writers, creators, everything from people that have done work for Marvel, Image, DC, Dark Horse, to people that are self-publishing, making their own comics in their own house or doing it through Kickstarter, stuff like that. If you're making comics, we wanted people there.
Absolutely. And I know we have a ton of comic fans in the chat. So if you're excited for something like this, mark it down on your calendars. It's also a free event. Did I mention that? Tell us a little bit about the different exhibitors that you have attending this event.
So on this flyer, this is the front of the flyer that we have here. We've got a couple of legendary comic creators. We've got Val Mayrick, that most people might know as the co-creator of Howard the Duck.
Nice.
And Howard is having a little renaissance right now, showing up in Guardians of the Galaxy and then showing up in the Guardians Christmas special recently. So Val's going to be there. If you don't know him from Howard the Duck, he also did a lot of Savage Sword of Conan art. He actually illustrated a lot of Magic the Gathering cards also. So maybe you've got some Magic the Gathering cards that Val illustrated that you can get him to sign. Next to Val there, we've got the legendary Anthony Tolan. So Anthony was the colorist for DC in the 80s, man. So he colored things like Crisis on Infinite Earths, Flash #1, that when that restarted in like 84, 85, when Green Lantern restarted, if you guys remember that iconic cover where Hal has the white on the side of his hair here, he colored that. So all kinds of stuff Anthony colored for DC during the 80s. And then under him, we've got some more contemporary comic creators, Chris Allen. actually right here in San Antonio. Started off with the Antarctic Press. He's
Nice.
been picked up by Marvel Comics. He's working for Marvel now. He's been named one of their Stormbreakers for 2023, which is the guys that are girls that they pretty much are saying like, hey, these are the next generation that you guys need to be looking out for. So Chris was doing some work on the Miles Morales monthly series.
Nice.
When that ended, they moved him over to, he's the current artist on X-Force. And the big news, if you guys might have seen, he redesigned Black Panther, and he's going to be the artist on the upcoming Black Panther series that starts in June.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
so
me
that's
some
going to
Black
be
Panther. That's
awesome.
awesome.
The
Absolutely.
writer that he's going to be working with, she actually was on, I believe, Good Morning America about last week. So if you guys want to Google that, she shared Chris's redesign of T'Challa. That looks awesome. She shared the cover image for the upcoming series, so that's going to be cool. Next to Chris there, we've got Sam Lotfi. Sam has done some IDW covers for Micronauts, for Ninja Turtles. He currently has a series out, if you want to check it out at your local comic shop, from Boom Studios called Mosley. If any of you guys were fans of the Image series Chew, Rob Guillory, who was the artist on Chew, is actually the writer on Mosley, and Sam's now the illustrator on it. And I've got a cover here. This was Mosley #1.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's on I believe they're on issue 3 right now. It's a mini series, so you can still pick those up at your local comic shop. Get Sam to sign those for you. And then next to Sam there, we've got Sean Kelly McKeever. Sean's an Eisner Award winner. He's probably most well known for having a run on Teen Titans. He also did the series Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane for Marvel, if you remember that. And they created the character of Gravity for Marvel, who unfortunately was killed not that long ago. But yeah, Sean is a great writer. He's done a bunch of stuff for the Star Wars video games as well. And then he's done some independent stuff as well called, I've got Sean's here. This is from Image Outpost Zero. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that you guys can pick up at your local comic shop, pick up online if you don't have a comic shop near you or just can't make it out to one, and bring it out and have them sign it.
We got a few more on the other side of the flyer. Who would you like to highlight from this list here?
Oh, okay, cool. You've got the other side of the flyer. Well, as I mentioned, Antarctic Press, where Chris got his start, they are our local comic book publisher right here in San Antonio. They've done all kinds of stuff like Warrior Nun, who's got a Netflix series now, Ninja High School that's been in print for years. So they're going to have a table out there with a whole bunch of their different books. Right next to them is Ben Bender. Ben's got a all ages comic called Bjorn, the Littlest Viking, really in the style of Calvin and Hobbes. So if you like that kind of stuff, it's such a great comic. Next to Ben, we've got Wes, Wes Hartman. I'm sorry, I'll try to go through these really fast so I don't give background on everybody. But Wes has been a colorist for all kinds of major companies, Marvel, DC, Image, and he does his own series called Savage Sasquatch about a Sasquatch traveling through space. So that one's a fun one. We've got David Angelo Roman, who's done covers for the Rick and Morty series. Paul Benjamin, he's been a writer on Marvel Age Hulk, the All Ages Hulk series. Bill Williams and Matthew Weldon, both the writer and artist on the Punchline series from Antarctic Press. And then we've got Jimmy Reyes. He's a colorist on the Marvel Action Avengers series that you see pictured there. And then finally, we've got Monica Gallagher. Monica has done a lot of self-published autobiographical comics. And then she's also done a series from Dark Horse called The Black Ghost.
Fantastic. It looks like Matthew also does some TMNT comics.
Yeah, he's done some retailer exclusive covers.
That's pretty awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What made you want to put on this event? I think this is your, second or third event?
Second, yeah. I don't know. I've just always really been part of comics. I've started reading, probably when I was 4 or 5 years old. My mom found some place that was selling comics for like 10 cents because they were missing the covers. and just bought a whole bunch of them for me just to keep me quiet. And since then, I've always read comics, always been involved in comics. I was mentioning to you guys before we went live on air, I used to work at a local shop called Bob's Comics at West Avenue in Blanco when I was in college. So it was kind of just like a college part-time job. From there, I actually, Bob's went out of business. I started my own online comic book store called Comic Break, and we actually won the San Antonio Current runner-up for best comic shop in San Antonio one year. So it's
Very
just
nice.
always, yeah, it's just I've always been involved in comics here in San Antonio. If you guys remember the show Texas Comic Con, I used to be the Artist Alley coordinator for that show. So
Wow. Yeah.
I was in charge of bringing in all the comic book writers and artists and stuff like that. And then once that went out of business, then I went over to Alamo City Comic Con. I helped them for 1 year. The year that was Mike Zeck was there, Denny O'Neil, Stephen Grant. Those were all guys
Denny.
that I
Yeah.
brought in. Yeah, Neil Adams. And then then after that, actually, I kind of got out of comics. I got a job out of town in Austin. I wasn't really reading anymore for a while. And then it was just always there, man. Like it was always, I kind of check in online and see like, well, what's going on? What storyline's happening? Or, oh man, that crossover kind of looks good, but no, I'm not going to pick anything up yet. And then just eventually you can't fight it, right? I just started buying comics again. I started talking to some of the artists and writer contacts that I still had. And I told them how I had this idea for a show that was just comic book vendors, comic book writers, comic book artists. San Antonio's been lucky that we have some of the really great, like huge pop culture shows with actors and all that. But
Yeah.
I wanted one that was just comics. So once I talked to a bunch of people and they said that sounds like a good idea, I was like, all right, let's go for it.
An actual comic convention,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
Back to
I don't
what
know.
San Diego used to be many, many moons
Yeah.
ago.
Well, even before that, or I don't know, I might be older than you guys, but man, I remember the comic shows that were just like in a hotel ballroom,
Oh, for sure.
a
Yeah.
bunch of guys with long boxes, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how San Diego got started, right? It was just
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
hotel halls or hotel banquet halls. And yeah, it's
yeah,
humble beginnings now
yeah,
to the global event that it is today.
yeah.
Well, that's
I'm actually
fantastic.
I'm doing a reread of Amazing Spider-Man. Like I started from Amazing 15, and I'm reading all the way through. And it's funny like reading the back of it and Stan's soapbox, and they're talking about how, hey, we're going to be at this convention and Ray Bradbury is going to be there, and like all these like huge legends, and it was like, oh, 750 at the door to come in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So
times have changed, man. Now
yeah,
it's register a year in advance and
yeah,
maybe
Yeah.
you'll get in. It's not
yeah,
even a
maybe.
guarantee anymore.
And then even if you get tickets, can you find hotel space?
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome, Nasser. Once again, just in case you're just joining us, this is going down March 25th. It's in the kind of the north west side of town at the Wonderland of the Americas Mall. We know it very well. We're there practically every month now. They put on so many great events. So I highly suggest if you're watching to go check it out. 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The event is absolutely free. Parking is free. That's something that people don't always know, but they can ask. They ask a lot. Parking is absolutely free. And then come by over 50 exhibitors, comic artists, writers, some huge names in here, probably some of your favorites. Be sure to check it out in 2 weeks, right? A little less than 2 weeks,
Yeah, a little
March
less than 2 weeks
25th.
now. So not this weekend, following weekend.
Absolutely. If you have any questions, where do you want people to go? Where's the best source for updated information, Nasser?
We do have an Instagram page, we do have a Facebook page, and then we do have a website at comicarts-sa.com. And then we'll put everything on there. Like I said, most of the time, everything's going to be posted on our Facebook and Instagram.
I just making sure I put this on the screen here. Comic Arts dash sa.com
Mhm.
on the screen right now for more information, for an updated list of who's going to be there. And I also saw, or you guys have sort of a layout yet on the entire event?
Actually, right before I came on with y'all, I'm finalizing floor plan.
Yeah. So
So,
for an updated floor plan and a layout, you can plan how you guys attack this event and make sure you mark down who you got to see. Head on over to comicarts-sa.com.
yeah, definitely come
Awesome.
out, get your stuff signed. If you need to pick up stuff for your collection, we're going to have several comic book vendors there selling high grade CGC books, selling dollar back issues, all kinds of stuff, man.
That's
That's
awesome.
fantastic. Love this event. Ray, I know you're saving up because you're probably going to buy a whole bunch and get a whole bunch of autographs at this event. Ray's the big comic guy on the team, but everybody's kind of dabbled in a bunch of stuff. I might have to check my stash and see what I can get signed at this event. But this is fantastic. Can't wait for it. Last thing you want to let people know about the event or anything else you want to mention?
No, just come out. Like I said, it's going to be a free time. It's going to be free, even if some of the guests maybe you're not familiar with come out. You're going to find some independent artists who have some great stories that you've never seen, never heard of, but you might discover your new favorite, and you never know when that person might be the next one to blow up.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite read right now?
Well, like I said, I'm doing my amazing read, so
Yeah.
there's so much of that I'm trying to read like 3 to 5 issues a day.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
think I did the math on it. It's still going to take me like 3 years to go through all of Amazing. But other than that, I'm also, like I showed you, Mosley from Sam. I'm reading that right now. And then my wife picks up I Hate Fairyland from Scotty Young.
Okay.
So I grab her issues and I
Interesting.
check that out. Yeah, you need to check that out. Scotty Young is hilarious. And then what
Oh,
else
yeah.
am I picking up? Oh, and a couple of mini series that are wrapping up soon. So Blue Beetle Graduation Day from DC. And then for Marvel, they're doing a Spider-Man mini series called The Last Hunt. That's a Craven story from the past.
Yep.
Very
Awesome.
nice. Very nice. If anybody wants to find the links to their social media or their website, you can check them in the chat right now. I'll go ahead and make sure that they are pinned. And once again, it is going down March 25th, Wonderland of the Americas Mall. Free event, free parking. There's a food court, so you can make a day of it. If you don't want to eat the food in the food court, plenty of places to check out food around the area, but it's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And also, I go to this mall frequently. There's also a ton of other stores to check out once you're done with the event. A lot
Yep.
of local people that build their own crafts and accessories, Funko dealers and whatnot. So when you're done with the event, go take a look around the mall. It's a fantastic location.
And they just
Make it
opened up
make a
this
day
huge,
of it.
I'm sorry, they just opened up this huge AR's Entertainment. If you want to go
Mhm.
grab food there, roller skate, arcade, bumper cars, all kinds of stuff. So
I
yeah,
haven't
check
been
that
inside there yet. I need to check that out. It looks awesome.
out. It's awesome, man.
It's
Yeah,
awesome and also like packed. It's gotten like it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy, but yeah, it's fun.
I
The
like to get a
arcade's not really like an arcade because everything's like redemption ticket games. So that's my only gripe. But other than that, the roller skating and everything else is awesome.
That's
That
awesome.
is
yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
and I like to get a slice from Goomba's Pizzeria in there every time I go in
Yeah,
there.
Goombas is good.
Um,
Like if you
it,
like
it's
New
it's
York pizza, that's good.
yeah, it's a good slice, but yeah, it's definitely a fun mall. It has that nostalgia feel to it in there, and it looks like they're catering towards exactly the demographic of people who would be watching something like this or being interested. So definitely go out there. It's a fun time.
And there's also always somebody performing at the same time. There's a there's whether it be a dance show or impromptu wrestling match. Sometimes like they have stuff going on there all the time.
it's a hell of a time. Make a day of it, but do not miss this. The Comic Arts San Antonio event, March 25th. And Nasser, appreciate you joining on, buddy. I'm
Hey,
sure
thank
we'll
y'all
be
so much.
talking again pretty soon, and we'll see you at your event as well.
All right, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great evening.
Appreciate
you.
you, buddy. Have a great night.
Bye.
If anybody has any questions, do not hesitate. If you ask us, we will be sure to go and get the answers for you, or we will tell you exactly where to go. Find Comic Art San Antonio on Facebook, Insta, or once again, the website. You can see it right here below, or you can find it in the chat, comicartsa.com. All right. We are going to have another guest shortly on the show. Probably the first time we've had two guests on at the same time, at least in the same show. But we're going to give him a few minutes to jump on. And well, maybe not. Oh, man. All right. For our next guest, there is an event also happening at the exact same location, actually, at the Wonderland of the Americas Mall this weekend, March 11th and March 12th. It is Morphinominal, and one of the featured guests that's going to be there is joining us right now. Y'all make some noise in the chat for the one and only Blake Foster. What's going on, buddy?
Yo,
What's up,
what's up,
dude?
everybody? Look, dude, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Blake?
There, you guys got all fancy back after training session.
It's all good, buddy. It's all good. Thanks for joining us, man. We're really excited about this event coming up this weekend. How excited are you for it?
Man, you know, I'm super excited to return to San Antonio. I know that we were phenomenal right before COVID started. So it's been quite some time. I get to see all my friends. Texas always comes out and shows mad love. So I am so excited. I see the chats coming through.
Oh yeah,
Man.
It's going
I'm
crazy.
super excited. How's the weather out there? Hot?
It's actually not bad lately. It's been a nice breeze every day. It's actually pretty good.
So sweater's cool.
Nighttime
in
the morning.
You're gonna be okay in a sweater.
Yeah, I mean we still get the 80 degree for sure.
Okay, cool
It's,
deal. What's up, Ray? How you doing?
Yeah.
I like your shirt, bro.
Pretty good, man. How you been?
I've been good, man. I'm very blessed. Very good. Very healthy. Keeping my training regimen going. I've just been on the grind, man. Teaching. My best friend, now that I've been training at his gym, we are transitioning into a new square feet. So I'm going to be a full-time teaching students on the mat and loving the new jiu-jitsu and supposed to take another fight in May. The dude broke his wrist, just found out today. So everybody with my fight news, but unfortunately the dude's pulling out because he broke his wrist to find another opponent.
Wow.
Oh,
Well,
man.
speaking of fighting, you had a championship match recently that Ranger Nation is very, very aware of. By a former, I guess, Colt, if we can call him that.
You could call him Young Rocky. You could
Young
call him Young Rocky.
Do you want to talk about how that started? Because I was aware of the fight, but I was not aware how it started and how it came to be.
Yeah, you know, it was just it was just a weird. I guess he had, Mike did the Young Rocky thing, and we also auditioned. There was always camaraderie because we always had gone out for the same type of roles. I think I had Tum Tum in the same one that he did in order to do Power Rangers at the time. So
okay,
we always had friends and stuff like that. One as he's building his social media early on, he had mentioned it because Mike's been in the octagon plenty of times. He's fought 10-3, or now he's 11-3. But so he's fought 11 times in the octagon. So he was like, "Yo, Jason Frank fighting MMA at the time," and I don't know, this rubbed me the wrong way, and I was like, "Dude, teammate, I'm sorry, you have to go through me first." And that's how I do it. And he didn't back down. He wanted to do the fight. The fight was supposed to be scheduled for this company called Tough Enough or something in Vegas. Doubt that they stopped doing that, or something happened where UFC wouldn't allow any more little because UFC blew up so big. So Mike came back and he said, "Yo, we can do it at my my hometown. You just got to come to my hometown and beat me. So I was like, wow, that's pretty. Why can't we do it here in LA? He didn't want to do it out in Los Angeles, where I'm from. So I finally agreed and said, you know what, let's just do it in Utah. Flew out there and did my thing, had fun with it. Was in a vigorous training camp. Went from 240 pounds. It was a catch weight fight, and I even weighed in less than Mike that day. Mike weighed 205 pounds. I was so skinny.
You're like 2 feet
was
taller than him too, aren't you?
6
like,
foot. I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
But Mike had to go up in weight. So Mike was originally fighting at 170, 205. It was a catch weight. So we both had to meet there at 205.
Yeah. And there's
camp. Meanwhile, listen
a champion.
to this. Meanwhile, listen to this. In fight camp, I'm over here and vegetables and not eating past a certain time and only having a couple meals, 3-4 protein shake. And Mike's over here sending me Snapchats and videos of him eating sushi and drinking. So I was like, yeah, yes, I did.
So I always wondered, like, when you joined the cast of Turbo, because you joined at the movie stage. Like, were you a Power Rangers fan? And if you were, like, what was it like to meet them?
Huge fan, man. I literally, it was the only parts, and they morphed into superheroes. So I was so into Power Rangers. I literally would remember getting off the bus, running home. We had the action figures, we had everything, and then I was filming an independent film and the director was the producer of Power Rangers, and he saw me messing around with kids doing kicks and flips and just being a normal kid doing karate and stuff. And I think it just sparked something. He was like, "Do you want to be a Power Ranger?" And I didn't believe him at first. I was like, "What do you know?" I was like, "What do you know about Power Rangers?" and he goes, "Oh, about Power Rangers." I didn't know who he was. I didn't know how long time was. I was 12, you know. Sure enough, the next day, I'm in an independent movie. On the next day on set, he had Amy Jo and Austin St. John pull up in a black car. And then sure enough, I was like, oh my God, he really does know the Power Rangers. Yeah, that's how it happened. I didn't audition for Power Rangers. I was very blessed just to be gifted that role.
Nice.
And be brought into such a huge fandom and a fan base that's grown tremendously. And now it's still improving. It's still doing its thing. It's still going on the network strong, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
So you're one of the few Rangers that hasn't been represented yet in the Lightning collection. There's a lot of opinions of how your figure should be. What do you think your figure should be?
I think it should be a box set with 2 Rangers, a kid Ranger and an adult Ranger. It has to be. They can't put a little head on a big Ranger again. Don't do that. It's not 1995.
Well, one of the suggestions was we could get, like, you know, you get a full adult size Ranger, and then you get a little Justin accessory that's just kind of like one of the little dollhouse figures.
You can pop off and stick it on the little kid's body. That's great.
Wait.
Yeah, honestly, I'm doing a lot of shows. I did a couple shows last year, and I got to get out and meet some fans and stuff, places I haven't been before. He asked me that same question. We're waiting for a pop for you. We're waiting for a Lightning figure for you, because now you're all shredded and you kick butt. And my martial arts would showcase the show. Me one fight scene. It would be so much fun to do, because back in the day, I was a black belt graphing my own fight scenes. So for me to get out there now with the knowledge that I have, you know, later, dude, I think it would be off the charts. So
that'd be awesome. We got a question in the chat here. One of them was asking, what is your favorite episode you were in?
Oh man, I have a bunch of favorite episodes, but is Little Strong Man, when I got bit by the ant.
Nice.
Super strength, picked up the Piranhatrons with one hand, got to work on the set that day, where in one of the scenes where I like run and I kick all the Rangers, but I'm hooked up to a bungee. It was so much fun filming that episode, and it was based all around my character.
My favorite episode that you've been in was when I guess they replaced the other Rangers with robots for the day to see if they
Robot
could mess with you.
Rangers. Yeah, Robot Rangers. Yeah,
It just
I
seemed like the
remember that.
meanest episode for no reason.
So you want to know a funny story behind that episode? His name was Shane
Definitely.
Collins, and he was an aspiring actor. So film I was on, I would always try to get my fellow friends as extras, or I would try to get my sister in somehow, because my sister's in Turbo and she's also in an episode of Power Rangers. But I would always try to get my friends. So my buddy Shane actually had the same haircut as me. He was like my stand-in. So every time you saw me and then you saw the Robot Ranger behind me, camera angle, that was my buddy standing there.
Okay.
So they didn't have to do two different shots where I stood there and you just saw my back of my head.
We got another comment in the chat. I've always wanted to know, they said, what's your favorite episode, which we just talked about, and what would he like to say to all the fans that have watched Power Rangers Turbo and Power Rangers Turbo the movie? And I want Blaine to know that it is an honor to be a Turbo fan. P.S. Shift into Turbo, Katrina Walko.
Katrina, thank you so much. To me, honestly, like, I feel that our platforms and the way that social media is a way to tap into our personal lives. And I've developed not only new fans that I've welcomed, and I just want them to all know that I'm so grateful for them. Do these Comic Cons to get out and meet you guys. You guys are the fans that we want to meet, and it's I was such a huge fan of the show, and I relate really well when I know when you're standing on the other side of the table, I'm meeting Justin, the Blue Power Ranger. It's the same thing for me when I'm standing there, like, looking at you. I'm doing this, like, just from the show I did back in 1997, you know. So it's just awesome that we have such a huge loyal fan base to Power. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be Power Rangers, or you could be a 37, 40-year-old watching Power Rangers. Everybody knows Power Rangers, which is so cool to say.
Definitely.
One thing that Shuki Levy.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One thing that Shuki Levy told me, he was like, you know, money with Power Rangers, but you'll be forever famous with the fan base. And he wasn't lying with that. So
fact. Yeah.
And I was talking to Nakia this weekend, and she was just like, it's just crazy that it's gone on for 30 years now, and we're, you know, Zeo's still relevant, Turbo's still relevant. And I was actually talking to her that a lot of the Turbo toys are highly sought after right now, because I guess we're theorizing they weren't making as much as they were before for Mighty Morphin. But, like, you know, because obviously you can see I'm a little bit of a fan, but my most expensive
that's
stuff
what I
that
was
I have is
saying. I'm a little
stuff.
jealous because I'm in my car. I could have behind me. I have a huge showcase just like that. I'm still a fan at heart. So cool to see.
That's
I
awesome.
like your setup.
Thank you. We got a good question here from LeBron Fett. He is asking, what do you think Justin is up to in the timeline right now?
Justin was a smart kid. He was already working for NASA. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in space, or if he's teaching karate. He'd be a mentor to some of these younger kids growing up that gets bullied and got picked on a lot.
And theoretically, he still has the turbo power as well.
Yeah, he's a Ranger, baby.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I think he would be working for NASA, something high end. Like, he's probably way up there now. Touring and running a program, teaching karate, or teaching kids not to bully and stuff.
We got another question asking, if Hasbro called, would you answer?
100%. 100%. I've been tagged on my Instagram. And I know the fans want to see that. It would be kind of cool for Hasbro to do like a Forever Blue episode. Give the Blue Rangers something.
I was thinking about that today, and I was like, in Forever Red, there's a scene where Jason shows up and it was like, you don't think you do this without the original Red Ranger? And I was like, if anybody did the write-up scene, it would probably be Blake Foster, and he'd be like, you didn't think you were doing this without me, were you?
Or
And
like,
just
guys, you know, like how in the movie, guys,
Yeah.
and then boom, I'm shifting to turbo and I'm all shredded and ripped. But yeah, I think that they should give back the Hasbro. They owe things. They're like the 30th special with Walter and everybody that's coming out. They are picking things line. I'm open to going back anytime they ask me. They did the Mega Battle. I think it was like 9 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Mega Battle.
The legendary battle.
Yeah, the legendary battle. I was in the hospital having a kid at the time. I was like, you guys full time to ask me to come back.
I feel like a lot of the actors said that, like, you just asked me too late and I'm doing something right now.
Yeah,
if they ask,
give me a heads up, shoot me an email, say, hey, we're thinking of having. Well, that one you can't make plans on. The son was being born.
Yeah, that's something.
Like me,
I don't think you.
Well, like me reaching out to you on Friday, I asked you last minute, hey man, you think you could jump on the cast for this? I wasn't expecting it to respond as fast as you responded, and I'm really thankful that you did.
Yeah,
absolutely,
man, absolutely, dude. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in, like, being humble now and staying humble, giving back to the community. And I'm coming to do a show in San Antonio, and I want nothing but love from the fans. I want them to have the best time while we're there. Get to meet the Power Rangers. A lot of fans haven't been able to, of COVID and stuff. Like, we really haven't been able to get back out to San Antonio, and we're slowly starting to pick it back up. I think it's gonna be a great show. I got a bunch of new prints. I got a bunch of new house. Got a bunch of stuff that I'm bringing. I'm bringing the belt so people can come and get a picture with me in the belt. I know that's your belt. It's pretty heavy.
Nice.
It's pretty heavy. So, yeah, I told myself I was, but I have to bring it to San Antonio because of the support system that I have in San Antonio. And everybody messaged me before when I was going through fight camp. A lot of them were from San Antonio, so I know that they wanted. You guys, a lot of people in San Antonio are wrestling fans, so it's like super cool to have a belt.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
absolutely. We have 5. We counted them the other day. 5 local indie promotions in San Antonio and the surrounding area. So yeah, we're usually having like a local event every couple of weeks. If anybody is just joining us on the stream, Blake is joining us because he's going to be at Morphinominal Expo this weekend, March 11th and 12th. There are a total of 15, I think, guests. 13.
Yeah, it's a lot.
13 guests,
lineup.
and I think absolutely. You're not going to want to miss this. It is a free event. Parking is free. Again, this is at the Wonderland of the Americas Mall and the northwest side of town. There's plenty to do at this mall. You can also grab food, make an entire day out of it. Some of your favorite Rangers are going to be there. Come on down. It's going to be a blast, and do not miss it. Blake, I also want to ask you, you were a part of one of the few Power Ranger movies that were ever made. What are some of your fondest memories of being on the set of the movie?
That was honestly, everybody asked me, what do you like more, the movie or do you like the series? And honestly, room with my brother, rest in peace, Jason David Frank, that thing, it really opened up the limelight for me. It opened up the doors and it made me real doing this. Being on the set with him every day, just getting a chance to work with him every day. I mean, he was the legend of all of us. He's the one that created all of this for us. So,
and I read on your Instagram, you had told, you had written out a really great story about JDF and him taking you to a movie theater. I was wondering if you would like to tell that story.
Yeah,
live,
man. It was. I'll never. I got goosebumps right now when you said that. Goosebumps. Yeah, we had just finished filming the movie, but wait, let me go back. So was on the Ghost Galleon. It was a real ship in the middle of the ocean. We would charter a little boat we would film out there for probably 3-4 weeks. We were on this boat beating up these future pods and every part on the movie. But the story with Jason, it was pretty cool because at this point, 6 months into the movie, I feel like, and he kind of embraced me, like told me, he's like, come on, bro, let me take you somewhere in my BMW. And he never everywhere. He would go grab lunch by himself, I think, all the time because I wouldn't see him sitting at the lunch tables and stuff. So we got to ask my mom. I'm telling this to the Green Ranger. He's like, hey, Pat, I'm taking Blake somewhere. I'll be right back. She was like, okay, be careful. So we left, and I'm CMW. We're cruising, listening to some Limp Bizkit. And I'm like, what are we doing here? I thought this dude was about to take me shopping. What are you going to do? And we walk up to the movie theater, and it's big Regal movie theaters, and right lights, the big billboard, the biggest one they had right there was our Turbo movie poster. Star, you're in the movies now. And I was just like, wow.
Nice.
And we took pictures. It was so surreal to be able to spend those moments with him and working with him on set. I recently just got tatted, and I told him another cool story. I told him back into martial arts again, and I took my first fight, and he was so happy that I won my fight. And his whole thing, his clothing line was Jesus Didn't Tap. So I got Jesus Didn't Tap right here on my Jason David Frank, and I told him I was going to get that one day when I started jiu-jitsu, and he always would bust my jiu-jitsu. So yeah, rest in peace to my man Jason David Frank.
I'm gonna show you something I got on right now. Hold up.
You're getting a lot of love in the chat, Mr. Blake. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love it. Wear that shirt. Wear that shirt on Saturday or Sunday, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So fans, you guys.
I need one for I need you to come up with one now. You got to make a shirt like that for us now.
We'll figure it out. We got to. I can't jock him. That's his thing.
Cody.
Well, no, I mean, do a Blue Ranger.
Yeah, Blue Ranger didn't tap. Or we should just be like, no,
yeah.
Just
kidding. Cody Aruda is saying in the chat, do you always carry your world's toughest Ranger belt everywhere?
No, it's actually it's at home behind all the highlights and stuff. My parents had it made.
Nice.
The crazy part is I lost my dad right after my fight. He passed, and then a couple months later I lost Jay. So tough year on me, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's tough, man. You know, life that you love. Make sure you tell the people that you love around you every single day. Give your moms a hug. Give your dad a hug. Pass, and when they're gone, they're gone, and there's no coming back. And it's hard because they're like, when it first happened, my daughter was like, when's Papa coming home? And I'm like, he's not, baby. So I feel like everybody should know that first of all, suicide, and if you need help or if you want to talk to anybody, if you guys are feeling any type of way, don't have DMs. I go through all my stuff, so I would love to talk to you if you guys are having any type of issue. And there's also hotlines you can call and talk to people, but just the people your surroundings you're always around and the people that you talk to, let them know you love them and let them know the small things in life, the simple things in life. So
we have Dave's dimension.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're going to come to Buffalo.
Huge lineup of shows. Let me see if I can do this. Can you guys still see me or no?
No.
Can you guys still? No, you can't.
A little bit.
I was going to name
yeah.
the list off. I've literally been booked. I have 2 shows each month. I'm going to new places this year. I don't know if I'm going to Buffalo. I'll be posting my con schedule out here in the next couple of days. I have a bunch of shows for the first time. I'm going to Pennsylvania. I'm going to Philadelphia. So I got a bunch. I would love to get out and meet all the fans, everybody that follows me. I send you my Blue Crew love. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing it.
So we actually have a really good question here, and I think it applies to all the chat. And he's asking if any of these expos are happening near Pittsburgh, and the answer is no. That this one is happening in San Antonio, Texas. Now I'll tell you why San Antonio is one of the ones you probably want to go to. One, this event is free. Two, San Antonio is super affordable compared to most of the other places in the country that you're going to go to. Morphinominal is expensive. Orlando is expensive. Atlanta is expensive. San Antonio, you can get a hotel room for about $50 a night if you needed to. And we got so it is very affordable. If you want to come here to San Antonio to see Blake this weekend, he will be here both Saturday and Sunday, correct? Both days?
I will be there both days, Saturday, Sunday.
And it's free. You can come just say hi. I think it was like $40 for a signature, which is amazing price for any con. And it's a big event to be cosplayer. I know I saw Blake was going to be in a panel here. I think that one's on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we do have a panel. Dwayne Cameron.
And Theater, he will be the longest serving ranger there. Yeah, you will be the most experienced ranger there this weekend.
OG.
I was like, because there's no Zeo and there's no Mighty Morphin. It starts with Turbo, and it's you.
It's me and the whole cast of the Beast Morphers. I've done plenty of shows with them. They're great kids. They look up to me like school ranger. It makes me feel so old. but a lot of
hey, Blake, look, like you said. Well, like you said, you know, being an older person watching Power Rangers, dude, I'm 47.
Yeah.
And I'm a hardcore Power Ranger fan. My nephew just turned 11. I'm actually taking him out there to meet you because he's taking jujitsu and stuff. So it's awesome getting to share the experience with him. What's that?
How long has he been doing jiu-jitsu for?
He actually just started it this year.
Oh, nice. Cool. Very cool. Sticks with that.
So I told him, I'm going to take you to meet. I'm going to tell you, you're going to meet a real jiu-jitsu Power Ranger.
Yeah, and the cool thing is I can actually brag a little bit now. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu 2 years, and I got my right color. I got my blue.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, blue belt in jiu-jitsu now. So a long journey. It's been a long process. New, adapting new things on the mat that I wasn't really comfy by any means. But it's just something that's like a repetitive thing. You do it over and over, you get really good.
I've been talking to a lot of Rangers lately, and they've all been kind of experimenting with new forms lately. I was talking to Brennan Mejia the other day, and he said he was starting jiu-jitsu, and I think Austin said he was trying to get re-familiar with him with some forms as well.
Honestly, if you guys are big on UFC, I think almost every fight finished in a submission. So it just goes to show where the is going. And if you get into a fight or you have to protect yourself, and going to the floor is probably like 80% out of 100, you're going to go to the floor. You might want to know what you're doing.
I'm just saying, I've been meeting a lot of Rangers, and they're saying they're getting back into shape lately. And I'm like, what are y'all getting back to shape for? What are y'all planning?
I know is up for a challenge. If anybody wants to challenge to take my belt from me, the belt is up for a challenge. I wish somebody would. Actually, I would love to take another Ranger down.
That'd be awesome.
But all fun and games. No,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I fly out Friday. I'm there Saturday, Sunday. Get to hang out with a bunch of my friends that I haven't seen. Get to meet all the new fans that are coming, and you guys are going to be in for a treat. So I got a bunch of new stuff. So make sure you come photo, get an autograph, mingle with me a little bit.
Awesome.
Have a great time.
Ted is putting up we got the cast. Half the cast.
Also, I think there's also an after party where we can go and have a couple drinks.
They are doing an after party. It's at Slackers. Anybody in San Antonio area, it's in the medical center off of Fredericksburg.
Nice.
It's a little bit inside.
I'll have a beer too. I'm really on my workout regimen, so I really don't drink anymore. But I'll have a beer or two.
Yeah,
nice, man. Awesome.
This is a cool place, and I'm in Houston now. I was in San Antonio there for a while, so I'm actually pretty bummed I won't be there to meet you. because everybody's favorite Ranger for the most part. I mean, Tommy Oliver is pretty important to us. J.C. David Frank, rest in peace. But you were my favorite by far. I was 7 when the movie came out. I was born in 1990, and I wore the VHS out. I'm like, wait, this kid not only does he get to be a Power Ranger, he gets to drive a car. So for a lot of people in my age group, I mean, you have to be one of the biggest fan favorites. So I'm bummed that I won't see you there, but I know that you'll give the fans a good time for sure.
Thanks. Well, H-Town, stand up, baby. We got nothing but love for Houston out there too.
Yeah, absolutely, because I would have a beer with you. That's for sure.
I know, and a lot of fans, a lot of fans like to do that. I haven't really been drinking, but like I said, I'll have a couple beers for everybody, and we'll have a good time. We'll cheers JDF, and we'll have a great time.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, sir.
We'll have one more fan question, and then we will probably let you jump off. But LeBron wants to know, if you could script your return, how would you do it?
LeBron James. No, I'm just kidding. LeBron, if I were to script my thing, I would honestly have like just as like try to give them some mentorship or try to help them in some way, and like cool for me to come back and not have to like grow when I morph. No anymore. I'm already tall enough now. Maybe they should shrink me down a little bit. Like,
I always thought that out of all the Rangers, when you or your character grew, why was he the tallest? Like, did they just overcompensate? Like, it just felt like he was taller than all the other Rangers for sure. So I think you'd be fine if you would not need to shrink.
Yeah,
because
I think
he was
I would,
already the biggest.
Yeah. Well, I'm 6'2", man. I'm 235 pounds right now. I'm a big guy. I don't think that spandex will fit. But I would love to come back to the show, and I know that they could make it work, but we just got to keep, and hopefully, I mean, like a lot of fans always ask me on social media, and I just tag, everybody wants me back. Like, let's make it happen. So I think if we just keep knocking on that door,
that'd be dope with the Mountain Blaster, or was it Storm Blaster, just riding through and you
so
step
sick.
off. Yeah, that'd be cool.
A new lifted version.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Oh yeah,
lifted version of either Storm or Mountain Blaster. That'd be super cool.
We're gonna start a hashtag campaign on Twitter. Hashtag bring back Blake.
For the longest time, I think that's the hashtag has been trending for the longest time. Bring back one take Blake. Because I was so prepared. The directors loved me. Yeah. The directors loved me. They'd be like, "Let's shoot," and then we take. That was it. And so they started calling me one take Blake.
Hell yeah. Blake is going to be joining this incredible list of Rangers this weekend, March 11th and 12th, at the Morphinominal Expo. This is going to be the Wonderland of the Americas Mall. It's on the northwest side of town, I-10, 410 interchange. For more information, go to morphinominaltx.com, or you can hit them up on any of their social media handles. It is a free event to get in. Parking is free. You'll only pay for your autographs or your photos, or they'll let you know what to do. But make sure you don't miss this. It's a large collection of Rangers. It's going to be a hell of a good time. Be sure to check it out. Blake, any final words for the guests? Why should they come check you out this weekend, man?
Because, Antonio, you got to come meet the OG Blue Ranger. I was kidding. Yeah, you just got to come out. Rangers, myself, the old dog over here. But we're going to have a great show. Get to answer all your questions, take photos, things like that. Before I go, wanted me to let you know that if there's any Pokemon cards available, to bring them. He's all into Pokemon right now, so I was like,
funny enough, there's a Pokemon card store there.
Oh, cool. So I'll have to grab him some Pokemon cards. Cool deal.
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, you'll freak out when you go to that store.
Oh, he would freak out. I won't. He'll want me to buy all these booster boxes and all this stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited to meet everybody. Hopefully everybody can make it out. Good time Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome.
Like I
Absolutely.
said again, thanks a lot, Break, for taking the time to come and
Yeah, you
join
guys,
our
thanks for
podcast.
having me. It was a pleasure talking to you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys on the weekend.
We'll see you then.
We'll see you soon.
deal.
Have a great night, buddy.
Later, guys.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Awesome. That was the first time we've had a Power Ranger on the live stream. That's a
Mhm.
first. Boom. Loving it. Again, if anybody else has any questions about the event, we will try to answer them as best as we can. But if not, be sure to check out Morphinominal Expo on social media or morphinominaltexas.com. Even though we've already had two guests, the show isn't over yet. We're going to now jump into our final topic of the night, The Last of Us, Episode 8, When We Are in Need. This is a continuing discussion of the series. If you've not seen it, I would suggest you pause this video right now, come back after we've talked about it. Let us know what your thoughts are about the episode. But if you have seen us, you know how we do. We start every discussion with our summary, and it goes a little something like this. Ellie goes on a hunt and comes across two men from a nearby camp. She barters some venison in order to get Joel medication. One of the men is David, not Lozano. He's a preacher and the leader of this group from Silver Lake, and he returns later to look for Ellie, and he ends up actually kidnapping her, capturing her, throws her in a little jail cell there. What he does is he also fails to persuade her in partnering with him after seeing what a monster he is, and the fact that his diet consists mainly of his previous neighbors, and ends up killing him. Joel arrives just out of the nick of time, and the two of them leave this winter nightmare. Pretty intense episode, and we get a lot of different components and dynamic here. There he is. He says, "Yeah, don't get it twisted. It was not Lozano. Absolutely." But
Oh my
episode
god.
8, When We Are in Need. Matty B, let's start with you first, man. What really jumped out at you in this episode?
Oh man, just Ellie really coming into her own as um, a survivor in this situation and taking control. And she was able to shoot this deer, and like this guy David, he's an apparent leader or something, and it's clear that he's not very capable of that. And they're struggling with all those people, and Ellie is out there, doing everything she can to keep Joel alive. When she shot the deer and they showed up, I was a little bit surprised that they so willing to kind of trade the medicine, even though she didn't take half the deer like she wanted to. I guess she was just really concerned with getting that penicillin back to Joel. Um, and then we get to see her feeding the horse and all of the things that she's doing, taking on the adult role there, to really just try to keep going as much as they can. She sets up Joel with the knife to make sure that he can defend himself. And, she takes it on. So she gets captured by these people, ends up in this terrible scenario. And if Bella Ramsey doesn't win an award for this role, I'm going to lose my mind. Um, because she just did such an incredible job, and it's a very tough and difficult thing for a young actor to have to try to portray. I kept thinking that Joel was going to get there in time to save her. I think as the fan, we wanted that. But Ellie had to end up handling it herself. And then, of course, we get the Pedro calling her baby girl at the end and taking her into
Oh
his
man.
arms. I mean,
Yeah.
that another again, the ends of these episodes will always pull a tear from me, and this one did the same thing. I heard that this one had 8.1 million viewers, so it's the highest the record of the season so far. Keep going with that upward trajectory, and it's well deserved. I thought it was another amazing episode.
You're absolutely right. 8.1. That's the highest of the season thus far, and it's just been climbing. all season long. Um, Ray, what about you, sir? Last of Us episode 8. What really stuck out at you there?
Pretty much I got it. Kind of got the. Well, if you read the comics on Walking Dead, kind of there's a group of people who are cannibals as well.
Terminus,
So it
baby.
kind of gave me flashbacks. Yeah, so it kind of gave me that flashback a little bit. But yeah, her getting to her own. But the thing is, that anger she had when she was just killing him, it just, man, that just sold it. Like she just went berserk on it. And to be honest with you, I didn't think the penicillin was going to work on Joe. I was really worried, because what you guys mentioned about in the game and stuff like that. So I was kind of really worried it wasn't going to work. And, I wasn't knowing what to expect. So when I saw him come back, I was pretty happy. I saw an interview with her, and she said that she missed when he wasn't on set while she was filming that. And when he actually came back to set, she really, really missed him. And that's where that hug and everything is really the emotions that she bought, because she really missed him from not being on set.
Absolutely. Kenobi also sort of chiming in, kind of what Matt said about Bella Ramsey. She's absolutely incredible in this episode. She's asked to do all the heavy lifting, a wide range of emotions, and she completely killed it. Anybody who was complaining about her when before this show started about the casting choice of her as Ellie, like, you guys just need to go outside and touch some grass or something, because she's been an incredible choice for Ellie like all season long. And this episode is the reason why they picked her. She could handle this wide range of emotions, and she's a fighter from like the beginning of the episode all the way to the end. When she's talking about, I'm gonna shoot you right between the eyes, like those guys both knew, like, all right, we're not gonna test this out just yet. But yeah, no, absolutely loved it. Daniel, let's hear from you too, man. Your thoughts about episode 108.
This is probably the most disturbing episode.
Oof.
I could only it just I was feeling a lot of Waco, definitely going on with that, with the biblical cult obviously
Yeah.
kind of going on. You
Caress
got
that.
you got the guy taking a young wife or he wanted to, and then the fire at the end. All seem very Waco inspired. But the cannibal part I kind of saw early on, and because they bring in the meat in that bucket, and they're like, "What is it?" And she looks at him all weird. He's like, "Venison," and she's like, "Whatever." And she puts it in the stew. But then they walk in with the deer, and I was like, "Well, that timing's off." So I didn't know this was like, I haven't played the games or anything like that. Of course, I know that Troy Baker was in the show. Funny enough, he's the voice of Joel in the game, from what I understand. And I guess in the game, he spends his whole time protecting Ellie, but in this episode, he spent the whole time trying to kill her. So I thought it was kind of interesting, for his character and for him in general. It was a complete 180 of what he did in the game. But yeah, I mean, this episode was very like Ellie is. I think this is the most trauma Ellie has had to date, even being bit, even losing her love interest, even all the stuff she had gone through. I mean, obviously she was. It looked like, I don't know why, but it looked like she was about to get SA'd right there in a burning building. When he made the comment, "I like it when they fight back." He kind of reached down a little. Maybe I just read that wrong, but I was like, "Why are you doing that when the building's burning down?" But it seemed
You read
very
it. You read it right.
okay, because it was weird. And it was a very, like, I don't care what's gonna happen, I'm just gonna make sure that you suffer in moments, for sure. And just her, like you said, like Bella Ramsey coming out of that coming out of the building, and that acting of just like being completely horrified, and it's like she came out of another dimension and then saw Joel, and like, where the heck was I right now? Like this is not stuff that has been happening to me. and just the things that she had to go through, definitely needs to be nominated for something.
Absolutely. Shout out to Katrina, who she loved the Power Ranger shirt, and she also peeped my. This is actually
Nice.
Kung Fu Saloon Ghostbusters shirt. Shout out to them. The only Ghostbusters speakeasy in the country that I'm aware of.
And while we're on
Um,
it, Countdown City Geeks does have a store where they do have a Ghostbuster inspired shirt. So if you like Ghostbusters, you can get a very exclusive shirt that Maddie B is very proud of.
absolutely.
But yeah, but that scene, getting back to the, potential SA, I was wanting so badly for Joel to bust in the door and blow his brains out. And guess what? He didn't have to, because Ellie took care of business. And that cleaver she gave the guy earlier in the show was also pretty brutal. She was definitely fighting and scratching this episode. But another thing, why did we have to lose the horse?
Oh my god.
I mean, that broke. I hate it when animals get hurt in movies. It's like it's just not necessary. But that was
I can see it from their point of view. All they're thinking is food. Like that's all they're thinking, and they're tired of eating Billy, so they definitely wouldn't mind some horse for sure.
And we saw that a little bit in the scene though, because he brings out this nasty red meat, and she's like, "What's that?" He's like, "It's venison." And I was like, "Oh, that's just a little suspect the way that he had said it." But Joel actually had some good action in this one too, and he was not nice to those guys. I'll see that. And then all he wanted to do was find his girl.
That scene, dude, where he's getting the information out of that guy, and he goes to the other guy, and he's like, "I ain't telling you nothing," and he's like, "I don't need you to. I believed him." And I was like,
"Dude." Brett's in the chat. He called out my favorite line in the episode. "Tell them that Ellie is the little girl that broke your effing finger." I loved it. I loved your attitude. I loved her fighting spirit throughout this episode. It was fantastic. I also didn't know how she was going to get off that cutting board table. I'm trying to figure out, like, what is she going to do? What's she going to say? The fact that she said, "I'm infected," I'm like, "Oh, that's brilliant. It's so good." And like Ray brought up earlier, I'm a massive fan of The Walking Dead. One of the best seasons was the season of the the Terminites. And that episode, tainted meat, those two words, you say the words tainted meat, you know exactly what episode, what moment we're talking about. It's just one of those iconic moments in the Walking Dead show. And that was just it brought me back to that. Not a criticism. I'm not saying they're copying it, but there are those similar beats, and it just completely took me back to that moment. Tainted meat, tainted meat. It was such a good Walking Dead episode and a Walking Dead moment. If you guys remember, you know what I'm talking about. I've also visited Terminus. It's actually like a manufacturing plant today. But I once drove in with a relative who didn't give two Fs. So we were kind of trespassing a little bit. We wanted to see the building, and we wanted to get as close as we could to it. So yeah, I visited where they filmed the Terminus episodes or the Terminus season. So yeah, I love this episode. Also, kind of like Maddie said, we're waiting for Joel to save her. We are conditioned to expect certain um, events to happen in these episodes, right? She's sort of the damsel, he's the father figure, he's going to save the day. But no, this show keeps challenging some of those norms, not just in this episode, but in previous episodes. The flashback sequences, the episodes where we just spend a lot of time with other characters, just to give a more of a backstory and depth to the people that we've heard of. This show challenges some of those um, ways that we're conditioned to watch television, and that's what I really like about it. It's not just straightforward. It's not as predictable as you would think sometimes. this was a really good episode. I know that I've heard one or two friends of mine say I really want to see more infected in a show about
Yeah.
an infection that took over the world. We got one more episode left, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna go balls to the wall, if I'm not mistaken. I don't watch trailers for future weeks, so don't ask what's in it. But if I'm writing this show and this finale is next week, episode 9, I would expect for them to go all out, big action sequences, really put a really dramatic episode in front of everybody. So yeah, I'm looking forward
But
to what happens next
it
week.
makes sense. I mean, we got it when they were around city centers and warmer climates, but the goal is to not be around clickers.
Yeah.
They're in this cold climate for a reason. Um, these groups of people that they're meeting up with or interacting with are not trying to be around clickers whatsoever. So story wise, it makes sense. It does play a little bit. We haven't seen more of them, but I mean, what does that really give? I mean, it's just we're just going to see them struggling and fighting them. The human stories and what they're going through, the humans in the show is much more compelling.
Yeah. And I think, I think we can kind of see, whether you play the game or not, what the end of this journey is going to result in. And this episode kind of showed that, Ellie she can handle herself. So I think that's what this episode definitely set up for future as well.
Absolutely. Nerd affiliates in the chat, and I'm mad at this episode because next week is the last one. Ha ha ha. Troy Baker, we talked a little bit about Troy Baker. Fantastic. He was in this episode. If you saw the after featurette, he talked a little bit about being on the set, and he was like, living the dream being on it. Let's see. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Sue's Geek Vault, I hope I'm saying that right, says, "Hey all, what's going on? Geek Vault. Thanks for joining us here."
It is a very short season.
Nobi.
And this is a very weird time. We have, Mandalorian, we have The Last of Us, we have Bad Batch, we have a lot of stuff on at the same time. This kind of reminds me when we had, Hot D, as Matty B likes to say, and we had The Lord of the Rings, which was great, except for those little Hobbit things I hated. But what else? We had another thing at that time. We had a third show.
She-Hulk was going on too.
She-Hulk. Okay.
She-Hulk, Hot D, and Lord of the Rings was all going on at the same time.
And we all know that Ted really loved She-Hulk, and he thought it was the best out of all three of them.
It took me a while.
I'm taking Teddy. I like She-Hulk. I read the comics. The breaking the fourth wall. I kind of would see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make her
Matty B. He's like, we're talking about She-Hulk again.
Well, no, they're just making her. They're making her basically Deadpool, but PG.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty much what it is. They're making it for the kids, even though the kids are going to gravitate towards Deadpool no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know I mean, she was like hooking up and stuff. It was kind of She-Hulk After Dark on a couple of episodes. But
that's
true. Hey, you got your first stars because of that one episode. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is right. That is right.
But back to The Last of Us, because I watched the trailer after the show. There wasn't much in the trailer at all. Very quick. Didn't give away really much of anything, if I remember correctly. I wonder if they'll release another trailer before, or if they're seriously saying, "Hey, we're just going to save everything for the show."
Hey, Maddie, did I miss something? When all this was going down with Ellie and everything, where was everybody else at?
That's what I was wondering.
The place is burning down.
I was thinking about that too.
I was kind of wondering that too.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was considering was when Joel was arriving to the property, there was this massive blizzard they were trying to depict outside. So maybe people are housed in. I also considered maybe this Great Hall is a little away from everybody. But I was also thinking this is a fire. People are gonna notice and come running. They're not gonna get out of here.
I also noticed there wasn't a lot of men like the men that were there were they're the ones that went to town looking for them, and then David and Troy Baker. Like I think that was all the men. So if all you have left is children, elderly, and women, there's no need for them to be outside. They're not going to be outside, and they're not the ones who think that they need to run to the fire to put it out.
And they also may have taken it as their chance to run. They may have heard stuff going down and been like, "Hey, we got to get away from this guy before we get turned into Long Pig, the old human meat."
Nobody wants to be Billy for sure. Did you guys get the sense that girl's dad was their dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
for sure.
I kind of got that feeling too.
They were trying to blame Joel and Ellie, who had nothing to do with this guy dying. It appears that he has to keep coming up with excuses as to why people are dying, and he
just went up to that girl and he took her out, and then he's like, "Eat your daddy." Like, what is? That's basically what he said.
Yeah,
I'm your daddy now. Eat your real daddy.
Yeah,
I'm actually wondering that. So, was there never an altercation between Joel and this guy ever?
No, because they couldn't have, because by the time they get into this town on horseback and immediately shelter in the basement so she can try to help take care of, and they were pretty much hiding that whole time. It played off to me that it was David making an excuse to the members who didn't know anything about the human meat, the tainted meat, if you will. And they have to pin it on something. Where did it go? It disappeared. So they're like, "Oh well, we'll blame it on this guy." You know what I mean? And then they can kill Joel and probably eat him too. That's probably what they were thinking. But yeah.
I wish that was a little bit more clear, because it seemed like James was his number 2 guy. And even James was sold on the fact that, "Oh, they killed one of ours. We need to take them out." So David must be really convincing if he's able to convince everybody that Joel is responsible when, like you mentioned, it wasn't possible. I was thinking like, maybe it was like a episode ago that this might have happened, but
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
I think General Kenobi has the guy that they're talking about. The daddy is the one that stabbed Joel when they were running away from
You're
that
right.
university. So
There you go.
that was the guy. He did kill the daddy, but I think those guys brought back the daddy to cook up, because even the girl was like, "Can we bury my dad?" And he's like, "Well, we'll do it in spring." Well, like, why are we gonna do it in spring? Like, so it's because you're eating daddy. So, I mean, that's what I kind of put together, that they insinuated, but I don't even think they insinuated it that well. They were just kind of like, "Oh, if you heard it, maybe you'll get it later."
It was probably something that they showed in the previously on or whatever at the beginning, and you were supposed to. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Kenobi says, "Wait, finale already? I am not mentally prepared." No, none of us are. None of us are. LeBron Fett says, "I lived near where most of The Walking Dead was filmed." Really? Sonoy? Do you live in Sonoy or like close to Sonoy? Because I've visited Sonoy twice, and it's crazy. It's central. It's the center of the Walking Dead universe, and I love visiting every time. I've seen Alexandria. I've put my hand on the wall of Alexandria. I've never been inside. Um, no pun intended. Let's hear.
Teddy making them after dark. Look at Matty. Matty looks so proud. He's like, "What just happened?"
Ellie saved Joel, then herself, but still needed Joel as a dad protector figure there at the end. You know what? Kind of the showrunners talked about it in the post featurette. How does this affect her mentally? Like every single episode, we're noticing her going through some type of trauma, but this one was like a whole other level of that. She was literally murdering someone to save herself, not just Joel, like she's done before. She was literally in harm's way, and she had to use her bare hands. It wasn't the barrel of a gun from 50 yards. It was up close and center, and she knew exactly the type of person she was taking out. So what is this going to do to her in the finale? it's so much for one person to take. I feel horrible that this character. I know it's just a show, but that this character is going through this.
She's definitely a Spider-Man character.
Right, right. Uh, LeBron Fed says, "I heard there's a show where Pedro Pascal is helping a child he adopted." Yeah, there's a few of them. There you go.
And again, it's another episode where magically Pedro Pascal is able to get off of it super easy. He didn't have a lot of acting lines in this one. He seems to be able to be in those roles sometimes, where sometimes he's there, but he doesn't really have to do anything. Like he does that in Mando all the time. He just does the voice acting and doesn't actually have to like don the suit that much. Um, but yeah, it's good to see him back up and moving though, because I didn't know how long we were going to be able to keep this in the basement arc going, and I was hoping they weren't going to end the season with him sort of down and out.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he's at least up for the finale. You know, where that goes, I don't know, but her odds of surviving are higher than his at this point to me, and I don't think that was the way at the beginning of the season. So she's definitely making some progress. You know.
Ooh, Brett with interesting comment. 3 bodies hanging in that barn for the daddy, plus the 2 guys that David must have killed. Interesting. So yeah, definitely the guy that Joel killed, and then 2 others that David did himself. Is that what you're trying to get at? Yeah, this guy's sadistic,
Yeah.
absolutely twisted, and I was kind of rooting for him. Again, I haven't played this far into the game, so I'm trying to just stay. I'm just trying to keep up with the show, but I was kind of like, oh, I really hope this guy is actually, coming off genuine and he's actually telling her the truth because they could use some help. You know, Joel's lying in the basement, like barely hanging on for his life. I was hoping that okay, these people might be some nice people. No, trust no one, like ever. From here on out, she's gonna be stone cold. I doubt she trusts another person in any future episode from here on out. I'm pretty sure like that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and now she's like riding solo, of course with Joel, but like from here on out, I'm pretty sure no one else is getting into that inner circle, and this just solidifies like everything that she thinks about the world that she's in these days. Um, Geek Vault says Joel calling her baby girl was a great girl dad moment he had with her. Yeah, absolutely. Um, there's those moments, and especially if you're a dad with a daughter, like there's probably 1 or 2 nicknames you probably call your daughter all the time. Not to give a Thor: Love and Thunder reference, but Christian Bale called his child "my love," and that's what I say to my daughter all the time. So like that line hits me home, and then this one, "baby girl," I also call my daughter that from time to time. Matt calls my daughter that from time to time, and so yeah, that one hits home. It's one of those lines. It's great that they used it. David says Pedro used his Mando voice in this episode when he made that guy point with a knife on the map. I loved it. Absolutely. Oh man, I just love all that scene. Him being as badass. Kind of have to let go a little bit the fact that he hasn't been off that floor in probably days. He hasn't. He's probably malnourished at this point, or but still, he's able to handle himself, and we'll see what kind of state that he's in this finale. Let's hope. Let's see what happens. I don't want to
You
make
know,
any guesses or anything.
that's what I was wondering too, because I was like, what are they feeding the horse? Because like all the grass is
Yeah.
going to be dead. It's the snow everywhere. Who knows how long they've been there? I mean, I'm sure a horse can probably last a little bit longer than a human without food. Um, but yeah, he hasn't been eating, and she just was bored and hungry, and there was like, I'm gonna have to go shoot a deer.
Yeah.
I love that. I thought it was sick, and the fact that she killed it right away, I was like, hell yeah. But then I had the same question: how the hell is she gonna drag this thing back?
Yeah.
Yeah. No clue. No clue
Mhm.
how that's gonna work out. Geek Vault says I don't think she has had trust taken away from her. Yeah, you're probably right. She hasn't had it since really she never really trusted Joel until maybe a week or so into their trip. I mean, that wall was already there, but
Yeah.
now it's just like titanium wall. Like nothing is ever going to get through that.
Yeah, that's done.
Geek Vault says, I call my youngest Mamacita, and the older daughter, I call her Sweetie. Aw. Last comment here. Allie felt violated, but I think Joel will reinforce in her why trusting certain people, it will be important. I think perhaps, but this world's dead to her. I don't even think if she wanted to help it, she would. I don't think if she was asked to help anybody else, I don't even think she would. I think I don't know how you come back from this kind of trauma, especially with David and all these other people. So it's
I don't know.
crazy.
Like I see Joel. I mean, if he's calling her baby girl now, he knows what this world is like. He's gonna be super protective, and I don't see him trusting anybody either, even Joel. So I don't know about that. But I mean, he's saying he played both games, so maybe there's something there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It really will. That'd be a great arc for her, right? To start perhaps trusting people once again. And the Bromfed says, I call my daughter Broomhilda. Her name isn't that.
Was that a Django reference?
That is awesome. Cool. Well, next week is the finale. Cannot wait to see what happens. We want to get your thoughts about episode 8 when we are in need. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Also, if you're just joining us or you are listening to this on the podcast form of this show, earlier on, we had Nasser from the Comics Arts San Antonio. That event is happening March 25th at the Wonderland of the Americas Mall. For more information, go to comicarts-sa.com. They're going to have 50 exhibitors at that event on March 25th. It's a free event, free parking. Some of your favorite comic artists, some of your favorite comic artists are going to be there in attendance. Some of your favorite writers are going to be there. So be sure to check that out. They're also on social media. Be sure to do that. And also, hopefully you didn't miss it, but earlier in the show, we talked to Blake Foster, and he's going to be in town this weekend, March 11th, March 12th. Morphinominal Expo. It's another free event, free parking, and 13 guests total. Most of them Rangers. You're not going to want to miss that event. For more information, go to morphinominaltexas.com. That's morphinominaltx.com. Awesome. Before we get out of here, I just have one last announcement to make. I'm going to pull up a picture here. But the Geekcast, we've done some events in the past. We've always tried to um, do new things, try out new things, invite fans out to events that we put on. Um, Now, there's going to be one that we're going to be doing not this weekend, but next weekend. We're going to have a private screening, and we're going to allow a handful of winners to attend this private screening. What are we watching? Well, we're actually going to be watching, in celebration of the 2-year anniversary, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Never before, at least by us, never before seen in theaters. So this will be the first time that I'm aware of that it'll be somewhat in a public setting. But we're gonna be watching the Snyder Cut on March 18th that night. More details and information to come out soon. But follow us on Facebook, follow us on social media. Those of you who want to attend this private screening, this private event, we will let you guys know how you can win seats to the only public or semi-public viewing of the Snyder Cut in theaters. 2-year anniversary. Can't believe it's been 2 years already. And I know, like, nothing DC is doing going forward has anything of relation to the Snyderverse, but it's still quite an achievement. And I know like half the Geekcast absolutely loves the movie. The other half is a little lukewarm on it, but yeah, we can't wait. I've been wanting to see this movie in theaters for such a long time, and it's a 2-year anniversary. I'm not going to wait any longer, and we want you guys to join us. So follow us on Facebook, and we will let you know how you can win starting tomorrow. Brett's in the chat saying another great podcast. Thanks. Y'all have a good night. And let's see, is he? Oh well. LeBron says the announcement that Daniel bought everyone the Doug Trio statue. Unfortunately, no, it wasn't. And David Lozano says I was an associate producer on the Snyder Cut. Fantastic. So Lozano knows what I'm talking about. Kenobi says good night. Shout out to Kenobi. We got a lot of stuff coming up, guys. So I hope you are following along. Hope we can see you this weekend at the events. Check our social media pages for more info. But that'll do it for us. For the Geekcast, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this episode is the one and only Retro Ray.
Hey guys, look forward to next time.
We also got my partner in crime, Maddie B.
Thanks, guys. It was a good episode. The chat was amazing tonight. I know a lot of you guys came over from Legacy's page, so make sure to like and subscribe over here to get some of the content as well. But great interaction in the chat. Love to see it. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. And last but definitely not least, from the Legacy of Nerd, it's Daniel.
Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for Blake for coming on the show. That was awesome. Again, like what Matty B said, a lot of you guys, if you're following me, make sure you're following the Countdown City Geeks. And if you're following the Countdown City Geeks, make sure you're following Legacy of Nerd. Also, countdowncitygeeks.com. We're going to be having more. At least I'm dropping some more articles this week. I'm really behind, so I'll be having some up as well.
And once again, countdowncitygeeks.com. We're also going to be having some giveaways to advance screening tickets in the very near future. It's movie season, right? Like coming up next is John Wick 4, then you got Shazam, and then they all just start snowballing until the end of the summer. So to have a chance at winning advance tickets to the screenings, not just like opening nights, but the advanced screenings, you want to be sure and make sure you're following us on social media and countdowntothegeeks.com. Awesome. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to Nasser. Thank you to Blake Foster. We'll see you this weekend. Peace.